Hi, Kimberly Holt here, writer and director for Covered by the Blood films. Thank you for joining us. Our next installment for We Need to Talk About God features minister and motivational speaker Eric Morris as he talks about what brought him to God and his path to becoming one of his faithful servants. His scripture focus is 23rd number of Psalms. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
My mom helped push in a movement that was taking over the city as far as the full gospel movement. She was going around the city preaching and was on Christian television, and we were in a church that was growing, and I rebelled against the Lord because I used to hear things that I didn't think godly people should say or do. I spent nights in the church sleeping under the pews because my mom was out with the pastor and his first lady going all over the city, and we moved into another house with. See, I'm gonna get real.
Right. Keep real.
And this is why I go all over the city and the country telling my story, because it's people in the church that's hurting.
Oh yeah,
you want to call them PK, you call them whatever.
It is.
So
that's true.
because we've gotten away from ministry and just begin to play church.
But that's it. That's it right there.
And see, Jesus did ministry. He was rebuking the religious folks.
That's right.
And I think that caused me to get involved in some foolishness. And I'm going to go through this real quick, because the question is, what changed me? I was seeing certain things just to be said. I was there just to be there. My mom was there. We moved into a house with 5 other divorced women who gave their life to the Lord, but their husbands didn't, or the fathers didn't. And that was some rough time for us. And I'm sitting here, goes back to the first question, Lord, my mom's serving you, why am I going through this? Why am I eating government cheese? Why am why the water ain't on every other day?
Right.
Why, but we in church, we're praying, we're going to revival service, we're going to tent meeting. Why my parents not together? Not knowing, like I said earlier, your test is going to be your testimony.
Right.
Because God knew I was going to be sitting here to tell this. So you got to go through something to tell somebody something. I tell people that all the time. It's hard to do prison ministry if you ain't never really dealt with nobody who's been there, if you ain't been there yourself. It's hard to deal with women that's been on the street if you have never experienced it yourself. Because they're going to look at you and say, well, what you know about
What can you tell me?
So what happened? In 8th grade, I was kicked out of my home. My mom got remarried. My stepdad was a missionary from West Africa, Liberia, worked with the Red Cross. And I wasn't trying to hear God. I wasn't trying to hear about God, Jesus, none of that. Because I would hear certain things come out of people's mouths like, about my father. You did, my father. So I grew bitterness. And then when my mom got remarried, I'm like, who is this guy? You got an accent, you don't have a clue what's going on. But what he was doing was, and it goes back to sometimes you might not be the person to win that person to Christ, but that seed might be planted and somebody else might come and water it. So my stepdad was putting the seed there. And I used to get the whoopings and all that, and that's a whole nother workshop. But but I was kicked out. I couldn't do it no more. My parents couldn't take it no more. And I had to move with my father, where I was able to live the life that I thought was right. People tell you the grass is green on the other side. If we get grass out here, the dirt is dirt on the other side. When you flip grass over, you're going to have some dirt. And so what happened, my father allowed me to do the things in which my flesh and things that I wanted to do, the things that I saw in school. See, a lot of our kids and our young people, we're fighting over mind space. They might get 18 hours of BET, all this foolishness on TV, and then we're only giving them 5 hours of the love of the Lord, showing them love in the home, and that's what was happening. I was able to get all this foolishness that I wanted, and then I wasn't getting that parenting, that nurturing and stuff like that. Make a long story short, so I totally turned away from God, as we would say, backslid, and didn't go to church one thing and it took me hanging around what I thought was so-called friends. I got in some trouble. I barely made it out of high school. I got a 13 on the ACT. 1991, I went away to college, Grambling State University. Got kicked out of there with a 0.8 GPA. At the same time, I got in trouble in the area in which I was in, and I was looking at, they say 5 to 15 years federal prison time. And that's part of my story. And the people that I rejected, the people that I thought was phony and foolish, those are the people that came to me when I was in Markham Courthouse. And Markham Courthouse has a 98.8 conviction rate. So I'm sitting there with handcuffs on and shackles not only physically, but mentally, because like y'all say, the devil was busy. I had this thing that, the thing that the devil wants you to believe is that he don't exist.
Right.
Everybody said, well, that's it. He wants you to believe that everything is fine. But it's when you get in that trouble, then that's when you really see it. And they came back, and I had to change my ways, and they spoke something to my life. It's always, when God is doing something for you, he's always going to give you a condition. It's always a condition. The condition was, if you leave all of that, I left the girlfriend, I left everything down, everything I bought, everything I was around, all the people, I left them and I moved. And I'm here to tell you, God changed me. And I even got closer with my mom and pap. I went from being a goofball to being a dean of a charter school. Meaning, ran away from college, ran away from academics.
See what God did?
Yeah, I graduated. Finally, I knew about God, but I ran from God. Then I came back to God, and that's the thing that, from like I was saying, I went from leaving high school, getting kicked out of college, and then I had to change my environment, change the things that I've done, change the people I hung around, and I found that scripture to be true when Christ said, "No one can stick," and I'm paraphrasing, "closer to you than a brother." After that, I went from being someone that I thought didn't know anything to becoming an educator. I taught high school for 5 years. I rededicated my life to Christ and understood that it was about my relationship. I repented. I said, Lord, I was wrong, because he could have took me. He could have, like she said earlier, no one knows when their time is coming. That's true. No one knows. But like she said earlier, the foundation that she had in her life got her. So that foundation that my parents had put in me, I was able to receive it even better and come back. Now I go out and I speak to young people. I speak to ex-offenders, because God knew he had to take me through something. But once again, it was a test. And if I did not pass that test, I probably wouldn't be here. I'm blessed even here and be around this wisdom that I'm around now, because I'm taking some of this stuff home with me to share with my 2 college students. And that's how I end up coming back. And I stand on the scripture, the 23rd Psalm, the Lord is my shepherd. A shepherd is a protector. A shepherd is someone who protects the sheep. And I was a sheep, and I'm still a sheep, and my protector is God. And he makes sure that, hey, you're going the wrong way. Knock you upside the head. Go this way. And if you study shepherd, like David was, the shepherd always knew where he was going. He always knew that he was there to protect the sheep. So that's how I end up coming. So it'll be the 23rd Psalms would be a scripture that I would tell anybody, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want me. I don't want anybody else. So.